Good afternoon, everybody. We're doing a podcast here, the YYC Formula One podcast. We're starting it now. We don't have an intro in the system at the moment, so we're just going off this. I'm joined with my co-host Mustafa. We're gonna be talking about the Azerbaijan Grand Prix that took place this prior weekend. How you doing, Mustafa?
Pretty good. How about you?
I am not too bad. You are quiet on my end.
Okay, let me turn up the volume. That's max volume on my end.
Well, that's odd. It's just quiet. Well, first of all, that was a very interesting Grand Prix.
Well, Azerbaijan's been known to be interesting in the past. Baku does what Baku does.
So, first, I want to talk about McLaren, because they bottled it just completely. Like, first Piastri crashes in Q3 of qualifying, and then you're telling me he crashes during the race.
No, first he jumped the start, and then he stopped, and then restarted, and he went to last, and then he crashed.
Like, what just happened?
I guess the nerves of being able to wrap up the title got to him, and they fumbled.
Well,
Norris lacked pace all weekend.
That's what it seems like. Norris just cannot capitalize on this opportunity. Like, he started, I believe, in 7th.
And he finished 6th?
Oh, no, finished 7th. So he just did not change positions.
That's brutal. Because I think 7th is what? 8 points?
I believe so.
So it's
6.
So he's, 28-point gap now? That's a bit low. He could have walked away with like a 5-point gap.
Yeah, this is just... Lando Norris is still in the race for winning the individual championship here, and just balled it completely. Now, even with Oscar Piastri crashing, there's still a 25-point gap between the two.
There is indeed, and the next couple of tracks, Qatar, Oscar runs pretty well at historically, so he might be able to bounce back.
Yeah, I think just in general, I'm going to be honest with you, this was just a really bad Grand Prix for McLaren.
And Ferrari, too. Neither team capitalized on the opportunities given to them.
Oh, for sure. I'll be honest with you. I saw the qualifying, and I was surprised the fact that you had Liam Lawson over them.
Well,
over Ferrari and McLaren.
In Q2, Hamilton stayed out on the same tire for 5 laps. So in his final run, he was slow, and Leclerc crashed.
So that one's on Leclerc.
Yeah, he binned it into turn 15.
But that's just Ferrari on Hamilton's part.
Yeah, because they changed tires for Leclerc in Q2. They did a hot pit stop, but they didn't do that for Hamilton.
That's the thing. I don't know what you do if you are Ferrari, but you need to figure that out, because it is you are screwing your drivers at this point.
Well, they lost second in the standings, and they're on the verge of losing third to Red Bull, because Yuki Tsunoda had his best weekend of the season up in P6.
He got 6. That's big for Red Bull. Amazing race for Red Bull. For Ferrari and for McLaren, that's terrible, especially for Ferrari there.
Speaking of Red Bull, Christian Horner's exit package was announced. He's getting a $100 million severance package.
That is crazy.
And he can join the Formula One grid as early as next year.
So he'll get a severance package. He can come back next year. So if you think about it, if a team brings him on next season, he'll have a severance and that as well.
Yep.
That's going to be... Oh, my God. That would be just crazy, wouldn't it? But, I don't know. Ferrari, if you're Ferrari in this situation, I'm not sure what you do. You have to look at everything. This is not, on your drive. You have... On paper, you have probably the best drivers, the best duo for drivers in Formula One right now.
Yep.
The issue is not your drivers. The issue is your car and your strategy. There's nothing they can do about the car at the moment. It's too late in the season.
Yeah, and they abandoned development.
Oh, for sure. But at this point, the strategy is costing them. And now we might see him drop down to 4th place because of this.
Yeah.
Which I don't think anyone expected this to start the season when they replaced Carlos Sainz with Lewis Hamilton.
Well, no one expected Ferrari to be this bad. In fact, I just wrote an article for the Reflector about how bad Ferrari was this season. Check it out. It dropped from the 24th, I think.
Again, check it out. That's the Reflector. I believe that's on the reflector.com, I think is the website. I could be wrong. Will that also be in the new Reflector paper?
I don't know. I haven't asked Z, but I'll get to that.
Well, we'll see how that goes. So hopefully it is out there and we can check it out. So again, I believe it should be out by the time this episode is out on YouTube and social media. So if you want to go check it out, I believe it'll be the reflector.com.
Yep.
I'm just checking right now.
I think it would be
the reflector.ca. Check out the reflector.ca and go check out there. There's a wonderful range of articles there brought to you by students at Mount Wooler University. So if you'd like to go check it out. It's thereflector.ca. Back to our main conversation there, though. If you're Red Bull, this is a great outcome. This is best case scenario.
Yeah.
You had Max Verstappen get pole, was the fastest driver, and got first.
He did.
He did.
He got a Grand Slam, his 6th career one.
Exactly. And Yuki Tsunoda getting 6th as well. Even for Racing Bulls, this was a good one for them. Like, even though, like, you had Lawson, what did Lawson get? 5th, I believe it was. Lawson got 5th, and then you had Hadjo getting 10th.
Yeah.
For Red Bull and Racing Bull, this is best case scenario for you.
Yeah, it is.
And for which, I'm someone that, like, I like to see traditional teams doing really well, or usually, like, not, like, the top drivers, like, not doing as well. It's nice to see that every so often, like what just happened here this past weekend, because then you get to see guys like Liam Lawson get 5th somehow and place 3rd in qualifying.
Yeah.
Which I don't think anyone expected that. He's probably been the worst Red Bull driver this season for Red Bull and Racing Bulls.
Yeah.
And he just finished 5th, which is the highest position for any of the drivers excluding Max Verstappen. Actually, no, sorry. Hadjo got
P3.
Got P3 the weekend prior for that, but still, this is really best case scenario for Red Bull and Racing Bulls.
And Mercedes, it was a good scenario for them. They're able to retake 2nd in the standings. And based on Ferrari's current form, I don't think they'll be able to retake it.
Oh, yeah. Like, Russell getting 2nd is big. Antonelli getting 4th is big, not just for the team, but also for his development. And at this point, Russell's holding 4th with Antonelli in 7th, and the team is in 2nd place right now, jumping Ferrari. So there's only about a 4-point gap between the two, but that's going to be really tough for Ferrari to take back if Mercedes keeps this up.
Yeah, but with Max and Red Bull's current form, we could see him finish 2nd in the standings.
We could.
He's I think, 40 points behind Norris.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the one thing, too, is that out of all these teams so far, the top 4 teams, Ferrari's the only one that hasn't won a race yet.
And it'll probably stay like that for the rest of the season.
Likely. The highest place they've gone was 2nd in Monaco, and then they got 3rd 4 times. But outside of that, there isn't really much they can really do. Like, Max Verstappen has just been dominant, which is kind of been keeping Red Bull in the race.
They might win in Vegas.
Maybe. It's a possibility for that. If they do, they're gonna need that, because this season is, even though they're in 3rd right now, it's just a disaster. Like, as much as people probably predicted them to be in this position standings wise, it shouldn't have been this close.
Now, with the end of 24, a lot of people, including Ferrari, thought they could go for the title.
They could. And even with the drivers on paper, it looked like they had a chance. But then now it's like, clearly your strategy isn't working, and it's coming back to bite you. You had to fire your top engineer. I believe that's what the title is. I could be wrong.
Technical director, I think he quit. But I did hear a rumor that all the rumors about Ferrari being bad next year are fake to make Ferrari look less attractive to new hires. I heard that rumor.
That doesn't feel like a rumor when you look at it right now.
It was from an Italian newspaper, so you can take that with a grain of salt.
The mob's probably going to be after them at this point. So I'm not sure what you do at that situation there. If you're Ferrari, there's nothing they can do for us this season.
I mean, the driver you're paying $100 million is yet to finish on the podium when a Racing Bull, a Sauber, and a Williams all finished on the podium. You dumped $100 million. He barely gets out of Q2 most of the time. He qualifies in the bottom 10 of the grid. He usually has no pace. It's always the same thing. The back end is unpredictable. If you're Ferrari shareholders, you're like, we're paying this for what?
Yeah, like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Lewis Hamilton should be on pace with Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin during qualifying.
He shouldn't. He should always be in Q3, comfortably Q3, every single race.
Exactly, but then you had Liam Lawson over him.
You had half the grid over him. He finished B12.
You have Isaac Hadjar, Yuki Tsunoda, Liam Lawson, and Carlos Sainz in the Williams finishing Q3, and Hamilton finishing in Q2.
For the 5th time this season. That's 33% of the time he finishes in the bottom 10. 33!
Like, that shouldn't be happening if you're Ferrari.
That shouldn't be happening at all, yeah.
They're lucky that their drivers are good enough that they can get from, like, 12th up to, like, 6th. They're lucky for that. But they shouldn't be finishing that position in qualifying.
Yeah.
If they were finishing higher, the results will likely be much better for them.
And just a side note on McLaren. Lando Norris with another slow pit stop that cost him a position. It cost him a position in Monza. This week it cost him a position to Lawson. It was like a 4.5 second pit stop. Yet again.
How do you get 4.5 seconds when McLaren had the fastest pit stop this season at 1.96? It's the fastest so far. The fastest, I believe, during this one, was Max Verstappen. I could be wrong.
And Singapore is a lot harder to overtake on. If you lose positions there, you're not getting them back.
So McLaren's definitely they need to sit down and figure out a strategy to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Well, the McLaren should run well in Singapore along with the Ferrari. The Ferrari was good in Monaco. It should be good in Singapore. And it should also be good. And the McLaren should be good. The Red Bull historically has struggled in Singapore for the past couple of seasons. So I don't think there will be a dip in form.
Could this be like what it... Do you think that this season right now could be similar to last season where you have Verstappen winning like the entire first half and the second half was very mixed? Do you think we're seeing that right now with McLaren?
Well, I think McLaren, at this point, I think they got cocky. They got too cocky that they were going to win the Constructors in Azerbaijan. They thought it was a surefire thing. Norris, after the race, said, I think Piastri crashing shows us that this car is still very hard to drive. I think that's just excuses, and they can't handle the pressure.
It also could have just been that they were telling Oscar that Lando had a slow pit stop, so he was going to have to crash the car to save time.
Who knows? Who knows?
Either way, McLaren, they bottled it. I think for them, personally, I would just say scrap this entire weekend. Look forward to the next one.
Because they picked up quite the cost in crash damage.
Oh, for sure.
Because I know Oscar's accidents probably were at least $1 million, $2 million at least. They had to put a new chassis on the car only for him to crash it 12 hours later.
Yeah, that is not what you want to see at all. And I think McLaren is pretty comfortable. Like they're winning the Constructors' Championship. It's guaranteed at this point. They're up by over 300 points.
Yeah.
But for the Driver Championship, they're going to have to hold on to that because Max Verstappen is only about, I think, 54 points behind Lando Norris.
Yeah.
Sorry, 54? Something like that.
I think he's 64 points, which is a lot.
It's a lot.
If anyone can do it, it's Max Verstappen in a Red Bull.
It's a lot, but Max can very well catch up considering how he's been doing the past couple races.
Plus, in the past couple of races, the cars look mighty good.
Yeah. I think right now we are seeing a strong consistency with McLaren the entire season up until these past few races. Like
Yeah.
in the Netherlands, there in Amsterdam, Piastri got first with Lando getting 18th.
Because he DNF'd.
Yeah, and then Piastri and Norris getting second and third, which is still pretty good, but then you have Verstappen getting first over them.
Yeah.
And then now in Azerbaijan, you have only 6 points between two of them, only going to Norris, which is not good for Piastri, and it's making this entire Constructors' Championship closer.
It is.
I don't think it's much stress between the two drivers competing. I think it's more stress that Verstappen just won back-to-back, and now he's catching up in the standings.
Because I'm going to be honest, a lot of the time when Norris is racing, if you look at like radio messages from previous races, all he thinks about is Verstappen. In 2024 at Sao Paulo, Verstappen was 17th, and he was still asking, where's Verstappen?
And that's the thing. Drivers are scared of him. They know that they know what he can do. The only thing that was holding him back is his car this season.
I don't know what Red Bull's done in the past couple of races, but they were able to widen the operating window for that thing.
And not even just for Verstappen, but for Yuki as well, being able to get sixth. So he's gotten points in the past 3 races where Red Bull's been able to actually start doing a lot better. Verstappen got finished first place twice and then got second, while Tsunoda got 9th, 13th, and 6th, which is his best stretch this season.
Yeah, the car is looking much more drivable now. I don't know what they did, but they did something.
They did something because all Red Bull and Racing Bull drivers finished good, and that's good if you're a
Oh
Red
my
Bull.
God, this is the first time they've all finished in the points in a long time.
The thing is, when you look at them, they got good drivers too.
This is the first time all 4 drivers finished in the points since probably maybe last season.
Which is big.
That's crazy.
I want to talk about Carlos Sainz here getting third, because this kind of came out of the blue a lot. He was kind of being held back a lot this season because of the Williams, and we were able to see Albon, like, even though he was driving the Williams, Albon was able to do pretty well with that, while Sainz was, the highest he got was 8th, but he was only able to be like in the middle range the entire season, and then he got second in qualifying and finished third. I want your thoughts on that.
Well, if I had a nickel for every time Williams got a surprise podium at Azerbaijan, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's strange that's happened twice. It's been the first 8 years since their last legitimate podium. Belgium 2021 doesn't count. That race was 3 minutes and 50 seconds long. So outside of that one race, this is their first legitimate podium since 2017. 8 years.
If you're Williams, this is like something to celebrate for, because they went from probably, for a while, they just haven't been good. They've been in the bottom of the barrel, essentially. And even though they've been a team for so long, they just haven't been able to keep up with the top teams. And now they jumped to 5th. Overtaking, I believe it was, I believe Racing Bulls they overtook. I could be wrong. Or they were up in 5th beforehand, but Aston Martin dropped down to 7th. And Racing Bulls in 6th, which is kind of surprising because I don't think you expect Racing Bulls to be in 6th.
Well, Toro Rosso used to be quite good back in the day.
Yeah. But especially now, Racing Bulls essentially just being like a B team for Red Bull. I think having them being 6th kind of shows a good future for Red Bull. I think we were talking about this beforehand, that we were kind of like worried about how they would do. And now we're seeing them actually starting to do well. I think we talked about this a couple weeks back where we were kind of worried about what is Red Bull going to do. They might be screwed next season. Now looking at that, they might be competing for the championship next season.
They might.
And this comes back to, it's a week-to-week outlook. Things can change week to week. So as much as we say this now, something might change next week, during the next race, the race after that.
You know, I would not be surprised if Oscar DNFs one more race. I could see his engine blowing up in like Brazil.
That's going to cost McLaren.
Because Brazil is so close to the end of the season, there's 2 trains of thought. One train of thought is take the grid penalty. and make your super engine like Mercedes did in 2021, or not take a grid penalty and risk it. If they don't take the grid penalty and they risk it, he could blow up. And Brazil, I think Brazil's a sprint weekend too, so that could cost them double.
That could, for sure. I'm just comparing last season's stuff here, but out of every team, outside the top 4 teams, those 4 being McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes, and Ferrari, only, I'm just kind of just making sure to confirm this, but I believe only there's been twice during last season where anyone finished on podium, not from the top 4 teams.
Yeah, last season I think it was twice. It would have been, who would it have been?
It was in Brazil. I'm just confirming this, but yeah, it was Pierre Gasly and
Ocon. It was both of them.
Which is a surprising one considering how they kind of ended up.
No, Alpine is a crazy team. Sometimes they're complete dog, and then they wake up and they remember who they are, and they're good for like 4 races, and then they're bad for the rest of the season. That happened in Monaco. In 2023, they got a podium.
I think that's interesting because while that was only by Alpine last time, this season you have Williams, Racing Bulls, and Kick Sauber all getting podium.
Yeah. More podium. They combined have more podiums than Ferrari.
This season?
Yeah, if you take Ferrari's, 4 podiums? They have more podiums than Ferrari. And Lawson's getting a podium by the end of the season, and same with Tsunoda.
I'm just confirming that. It's actually 5 podiums Ferrari got this season.
Tsunoda and Lawson are both getting podiums by the end of the season. Could be the same race.
That could be that's a stretch, I feel like.
Vegas is always known, for the 2 years we've had it, as a crazy race. Stuff goes down in Vegas. I could see both McLaren suffering, because Vegas, heating up your tires is the issue. The teams that are really good at heating up your tires in cold conditions are Mercedes and Ferrari. Red Bull's pretty good at it. McLaren's not that good at it. They're good if it's hotter. So if it's colder, like it's supposed to be in Vegas, McLaren's suffering. Ferrari and Red Bull should do okay. Mercedes should do really well. I could see Yuki slipping it in there.
Yeah, I'm just kind of looking at last season there, but yeah, during Vegas last year, you had Russell and Hamilton both when they're on Mercedes, they're on pole. No, sorry, on podium, with Carlos Sainz in third in the Ferrari.
Yeah.
So I think I do agree with you on that. I think it's likely possible we might see a different winner this time. And
I could see Leclerc winning in Vegas.
We could, but we could also see Mercedes or Ferrari getting a chance here.
Honestly, it's probably going to be Russell. He won in Vegas last year. He utterly dominated the race last year.
It's a possibility. Or
I think he led from lights to flag.
Or we see Verstappen just win everything else.
The Red Bull is aerodynamically efficient, which is what you need in Red Bull in Vegas. The only saving grace of that Red Bull is it's aerodynamically efficient. It doesn't need a lot of wing angle to create a lot of downforce.
I want to ask you what your favorite part of this last race was.
Qualifying was crazy. The qualifying was 118 minutes long. That is longer than the entirety of the Italian Grand Prix.
That is a very long qualifying.
6 red flags, most in history.
That's kind of crazy.
That's more red flags than most races.
Yeah.
It saw Albon crash out.
I think you only see like 1 or 2 red flags.
Usually 1 or 2 a season.
Yeah.
But it saw Albon crash out, Hülkenberg crash out, Leclerc crash out, Piastri crash out. So who else crashed out?
Did Behrman?
Oh, Behrman crashed out. Ocon got disqualified.
Yeah, that's just a crazy qualifying.
He got disqualified from 18th.
Like that means anything.
So it's crazy race.
Yeah. I think...
And
yeah.
When I was watching the race, seeing them say Oscar Piastri's 20th, no wait, Oscar Piastri's out, in the first 40 seconds is unexpected.
Yeah, because false start to then now restarting at the back of the grid to then crashing right after that
is wild. And seeing Verstappen dominate like he did in 2023 is kind of nice. I'm not going to lie.
You know, during what race was it? I believe it was Italy, when I think it was Leclerc crashing, and he just kind of sat there on the hill. That's probably how Piastri felt.
I think that was Zandvoort. Zandvoort after the crash. You know, apparently Oscar stayed at turn 5 for a good, 20 minutes. He stayed on turn 5, where he crashed.
Did no one go pick him up?
I think he didn't want to leave.
Well, he's probably just in disbelief at that point. Like, you fall start, and then you crash right after that.
And the car went into anti-stall, too. Which is why it took him so long to get going again. And it's the reason Alonso got his penalty. Alonso reacted to him. That's why they both moved.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of that. It's like, if you're Piastri, this is just not this is just not your weekend.
If you're McLaren, this isn't your weekend.
Well, at least McLaren got points and somewhat. Piastri...
Yeah, 5 points. Come on, bro. Ferrari got more than that. You scored less points than Ferrari.
They scored less points than Liam Lawson.
They scored less points than Williams.
Exactly.
Williams also basically locked down 5th in the Constructors now.
Essentially, yeah,
It was under threat, but then they locked it back in.
There's a bigger gap between them and Racing Bulls now.
But Albon is probably seething at the missed opportunity here. It could have been a double top 5 finish for Williams had he not crashed.
Oh, yeah.
Is this your first Azerbaijan Grand Prix being a fan?
You're saying it's like I've been a fan. Like, I started following this at the start of the season.
So this is your first Azerbaijan Grand Prix?
Essentially.
Now, Azerbaijan in the past has been known for some mighty chaotic races. How do you think it did this year?
Honestly, I kind of like how it went. I think it's nice to see other races. You had Liam Lawson 5th somehow. You had Carlos Sainz get 3rd in the Williams. The McLarens just bottled the entire thing.
Let me run down the past couple Azerbaijan Grand Prix. 2017, title rivals crashed into each other and saw Daniel Ricciardo and Red Bull win, Valtteri Bottas make a comeback from last, and Lance Stroll on the podium. 2018 saw the Force India, a repeat of Force India, long complicated story. They saw them finish 3rd after Vettel made a mistake. 2021 saw Verstappen's tire blowout, saw Hamilton ruin his chances of the title by locking up into turn 1, saw Bottas struggle immensely at the back of the grid, and Perez shining and winning. Then 2023 saw Russell and Verstappen crash and pick up damage in the sprint race. And in the feature race, Perez outclassed everybody again and took a 2nd win there. I don't really know how he managed that. 2024 saw the mini DRS scandal with McLaren, but they ended up winning the race. And 2025, as you've watched. So how do you think it does?
It's definitely up there, probably top 3 for sure.
Perfect.
Because you had the McLaren, the team who's on pace to destroy everyone this season, just like one of the jobs gets 7th, the other one crashed in qualifying, a false start on the grid, and then crashed right after that. You had probably one of the worst drivers in Liam Lawson get 5th and get 3rd in qualifying. You had Carlos Sainz in a Williams car get podium. I don't think you can... You had Yuki Tsunoda, who hasn't been very good so far in the Red Bull, get 6th.
Yeah.
You had Racing Bulls get double points. I don't... There's nothing much to add for that. I think that's just something you don't see in any other race this season. And that's definitely a top 3 Azerbaijan Grand Prix.
I recognize a pattern here. So when Mercedes was dominating, once a season, they would just give up and there'd be a horrific race. In 2018, it was Austria. They had reliability issues. 2019, it was Germany. They both crashed. 2020, it was a mix of Sakia and it was a mix of Monza. They both botched there. Then in 2023 for Red Bull, it was Singapore. And in 2025 for McLaren, it's Azerbaijan. Why do you think the team that's dominating messes up one race a season?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
There's one race where nothing goes right for that team.
And it's Azerbaijan.
A lot of the time it is Azerbaijan.
Yeah. There's something with that. Like, what do they have someone there like casting a spell on like whoever's in first place and be like, hey?
I think personally, it's right on the coastline. The start finish straight, because it's right on the coastline. There's heavy winds into turn one.
So it's probably more that if you are one of those top teams, or like, if let's say McLaren in this instance, you probably focus on like how you're driving, but then when you get this little change to it, it messes the entire thing up.
Because from so far this season, the McLaren seems very sensitive to minor changes like wind and ambient air temperature.
Yeah.
Which is why in qualifying, because it started drizzling in qualifying, it was like a light drizzle.
Yeah. So
temperatures plummeted, and Norris stayed out on older tires too.
Yeah, so it's kind of just seems like when these changes happen, McLaren just can't really react well to it.
But so far, I think realistically, out of the remaining races, Qatar is going to be dominated by McLaren. There's temperature issues and everything. It will be dominated by McLaren. Texas, if it's hot, is dominated by McLaren. Their tire wear advantage is coming in. Plus, it's pretty fast, nippy track. Vegas, it's not nighttime. It's colder. I think it's going to be probably Red Bull. Singapore, one of the hottest races on the calendar. It's 42 kilometers from the equator. It's a sprint weekend, I believe. I believe it's a double race. It's a sprint.
Sorry, for which one that was?
Singapore.
Singapore. Yeah, let me just confirm that real quick, but I believe it is.
So that should be a McLaren whitewash. That should be dominant McLaren. It's hot. Ferrari can't keep their tires. Mercedes can't keep their tires. Max could probably do it, but I don't think he'll have the pace for either McLaren. And I could totally see Norris crashing too. I could totally see him crashing.
If Norris crashes, I think that just leaves the entire thing wide open for either Verstappen to try and get back up there or for Piastri just to take first.
If he crashes and Piastri finishes in the top three, Piastri's done. He's wrapped the title. Norris is not coming back from that.
Yeah, like Norris is honestly barely holding on at this point for his life, trying to ensure he doesn't get out of this race. But he had the opportunity this race, and he just didn't take it.
And he came up with an excuse. This car's hard to drive. But back when Hamilton had a bad race in 2020, he said, quote, "You have the fastest car. You should be winning."
Exactly. I think every car in Formula 1 is hard to drive. Yeah. Every car is hard to drive. Because that's the thing about it. It's a very fast car. It's meant to be. It's a sensitive, fast car.
It's fast, but it's sensitive to bumps, ride height, wind, heat, wind direction.
So you need to be, for someone, if you're a Formula 1 driver and you've been racing for years at this point, you gotta be used to that. There's times where you just can't always blame your car or your team. You also gotta blame the driver. Like, let's be honest with you here. Do you think Piastri's crash was just because of the car?
No, when he crashed in qualifying, they did an analysis between his Q2 lap and his Q3 lap. He started braking about 10 meters later. That's driver error.
Yeah.
That was probably the same with the race. The tires are cold, the car's filled with fuel, it's heavy. He probably just outbroke himself by 10, 15 meters. Not that much in the grand scheme of things.
If you are a driver for a McLaren vehicle here, you can't just always do the same thing each race.
Yeah.
You got to adjust for the temperature, the wind, the weather, just in general.
Because when Hamilton had his issues in Hungary, instead of saying, "Oh, it's the car, the rear end's unstable," was he very hard on himself? Yes, he said he sucked and was useless. Is that a bit too far? In my opinion, yes. But he did take responsibility and blame for the fact he was out in Q1 in Hungary.
I think that's the thing too, is that he is a veteran driver at this point. If you're talking about like Hamilton, like 10 years ago, he probably wouldn't have said that. He would
Well, no, 10 years ago, he leaked confidential information on Twitter.
Exactly. But now you can't do. You don't see him doing the same thing. And that's the thing too. It comes back to drivers' maturity as well. That you have to know when to take responsibility. You can't always blame the failures of a race on your car or your team.
That's one thing about Max, is he doesn't like to admit when he's wrong. In Hungary, you weren't a fan, but in Hungary 2024, him and Hamilton were going at it all the race, and they crashed into each other. And objectively, that was Verstappen's fault, but he blamed Hamilton. In Brazil 2021, when they ran each other off the road, it was apparently Hamilton's fault. In Jeddah 2021, you'll learn about this more next weekend. Jeddah 2021 was the best race in history, by the way. When the 8 times they crashed into each other at that race, it magically was always not his fault. It was always Hamilton hit me.
Yeah.
And that even is like that this season too, even.
Yeah.
And he's a very mature driver. It's just he can't admit fault when he crashes.
Yeah. Though, when you are McLaren in the situation, the car is not the issue if you're winning. If you're winning, let's be honest with you, you can look at the standings here. You're first and second. You're up by so much. You can't blame the car. You can blame the car for it being sensitive, but that's just Formula One cars.
Yeah.
You've been a Formula One driver for years. Your focus should rather be on you need to be used to the sensitivity of the car and understand it in certain conditions and make these small changes in these conditions rather than sticking to the same thing each time.
Personally, I think the reason why Norris is like this is he's a lot less into racing than other drivers. He enjoys it, but at the same time, he realizes this is a job, and he's like, if I'll do my best, and that's it. He's not as dedicated to the game, you could say.
He's pretty much just Lance Stroll on the other team.
Lance Stroll could be world champion if he wanted to. If he woke up and said, I will be world champion, he would be world champion if he could. He chooses to be bad. There's no way.
Well, I saw some sort of rumor that in 2023 he tried to quit.
I saw that rumor too. I think deep down, I think he wants to quit. I don't even think he wanted to be a racing driver from the start, man. He wanted to be a trust fund baby partying on yachts in the south of France, and his dad said, no, you're being a racing driver. That's what happened, and now he's stuck here, and he can't quit. Deep down, he wanted to get hitched to a girl 10 years younger than him and party on a yacht and cheat on her. That's what he wanted.
Probably not.
You really think Lance Stroll wanted to be a racing driver?
I think he probably enjoys racing. I don't think he wants it to be like his job. I think he just wants it to be like a hobby.
So he wants to be, there's the World Endurance Championship is much better if you want to do less racing because there's only 8 races a season.
Yeah.
So and Aston Martin has a team there too. So I see him leaving and him going to the World Endurance Championship, and I see him doing really good in the World Endurance Championship. I could see him winning races.
Oh, for sure. He's not a bad driver. I think a lot of the time he just doesn't really care as much.
I mean, this season he's actually been pretty good.
He has been. I think he's just been a bit more focused this season. He hasn't. I don't think I could be wrong. I don't know if he's actually crashed this season. I think once maybe.
He crashed, I think, once, but besides that, he's had some amazing comeback drives from far back on the grid. And he's always, when he's doing racecraft, he's actually pretty good. He doesn't typically crash. He doesn't do questionable things. But a lot of the good races he has had were races where he didn't do anything extra, out of the ordinary. He just kind of did his own thing.
Yeah.
Which is why I think he'd be good in the World Endurance Championship, because that's what that type of racing is.
Oh, for sure. But though, at Azerbaijan, he didn't really do as good.
Well, Azerbaijan, at that point, it's a hard race to finish.
Yeah. It just Aston Martin in general didn't do as well. Lance Stroll dropped 3 spots. Fernando Alonso dropped 4 spots.
Alonso did have that penalty, though.
Yeah, that's true.
But Singapore, I could see both of them doing very well.
Probably.
Singapore, I could see them being up there.
As long as they finish high in qualifying, there's likely a good chance that they'll be able to keep it up there.
Because a couple of seasons ago, I think it was 2023, Lance Stroll had a really bad crash at Singapore, coming out of the final corner. I think it's redemption time for that crash, and he does good. Or maybe Hamilton or Russell will get their redemption from 2023. They had a chance of winning, but Russell crashed.
I don't know. I think the Singapore Grand Prix will be very interesting to see.
Especially with it being a sprint and being so hot. A lot of drivers, if you ask them, have you ever peed yourself? They will say they peed themselves at Singapore because it was just too hot. Do not ask why I know that. That is not important to the question.
Now, why do you know that?
Okay, I watched a couple interviews. They're like, it was Singapore, it was hot, it was like the fourth safety car of the race. I let a couple of dribbles out.
That's crazy.
That's a fact, actually.
So, let's look to the next race here in Singapore again. What can we expect from Singapore this season?
Safety car.
How many?
I'll say one, but maybe a red flag.
And if anyone does go out, who do you think it'll likely be?
I could see it being either the McLarens, one of the Ferraris, or maybe not Stroll. He just said he would do good. I could see Lawson crashing at Singapore. Specifically close in Sector 3, close to the end. In the final couple of corners, I could see him binning it.
We're going to note that down, and we're actually going to go back to that in 2 weeks.
Because I just have a feeling, because it's so hot, you get so dehydrated, you're so tired, you're prone to make more mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
In Qatar in 2023, people had heat stroke. People fainted. Lance Stroll pulled into the pits, and he said, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, do you blame him?
I don't know why they thought a Middle East race in like November was a good idea, bro. It's like 48 degrees outside.
And they're wearing like full body stuff as well.
I think they wore 4 or 5 layers of fireproof stuff. Plus the cockpit temperature is like 50 degrees anyway.
So like that's just hot. Like you know those like little like straw things there that like you have a hat on and it's like there's a drink there and you like have like a straw.
Yeah.
They should just have the drivers wear that.
They have that. It's an 8-ounce water bottle in the footwell.
They should sell those.
Honestly, that in Australia, when Leclerc said, I think there's a leakage, that's what he was talking about. He thought the water bottle was leaking.
Now, actually, you know, I'm curious. If the water bottle does leak and let's say it just gets on this, like, on the terminal and all that, would that just mess up the car?
I know that in the past 10 years, there's been, I think, 3 races where this car stopped working, like the buttons, and they had to switch steering wheels. And I think every time it happened, it was a Mercedes. And I'm pretty sure it was Rosberg for most of the times anyway. I think at 2015 Singapore, Hamilton's steering wheel broke. And then I think a couple races earlier, Rosberg's steering wheel broke. And I think it broke once in 2014 too.
Yeah, that's just... Yeah.
I'm like, imagine this. You're in like a $20 million race car and the button stops working. That must just be funny at that point.
Oh, for sure.
All the things break is my button.
Well, I think it depends though too. Like it depends what placement you're in at that situation.
Well, if we go, I know it's a tangent, but 2015 Singapore was the first non-Mercedes powered pole position of the new engine regulations at the time. So Mercedes weren't even having a good race anyway. They were like P7, P8.
Yeah.
So Ferrari were out leading. Rosberg's like, well, Hamilton DNF'd and I finished P6. When I DNF'd, Hamilton won by 40 seconds. I look stupid.
Actually, talking about times though, I was looking at how like the time between each driver finishing now. Verstappen won by 14 seconds.
Well, I fell asleep towards the end, but for most of the race, he was only 5 or 6 seconds ahead of second place.
Yeah.
The gap only jumped towards the end.
Oh yeah. Though I did realize though between Hadjo and Bortoleto, there was like a 29-second gap.
I mean, Bortoleto did the best he could. The Sauber was never going to do good here.
We're saying it's like the car can be good. Well, it can be. Hulkenberg showed it that it can get third.
It's good in mixed conditions and one type of track layout. The problem with Azerbaijan is you need high downforce for the fast part. You need a lot of mechanical grip for the castle section. The narrowest part on the Formula One calendar, 7.2 meters, by the way. And then you need high top speed for the 2.2 kilometer straight. Longest on the Formula One calendar, by the way.
Now, you know what will likely be the biggest achievement, though, from this race? Was that Nicola Pinto got ahead of Piastri.
He was oddly good this race. It made no sense. He qualified in front of him and he stayed in front of him. I was surprised.
Do you think it's possible that he will stay with Alpine next season?
I heard rumors that he's going to stay, and I would say let him stay too.
Because it's a tough decision right now because he hasn't gotten any points yet.
But he's gotten closer to the points than Doohan ever did.
Oh, yeah.
Colapinto, I think, isn't his best finish like 14th or something? 13th, 14th?
11th.
Yeah, see? He's got that's basically points if you think about it.
There's only 2 drivers this season that haven't gotten points, and it's him and Doohan.
Well, Doohan only did 5 races. I think we should actually start cutting him some slack, man. He was given the axe. He hadn't even finished probation, bro. Probation is 90 days. He couldn't even get through that before they fired him.
He did retire his car twice, though.
Okay, you know what? Everyone fumbles sometimes. If you think about it.
That's true.
Hamilton's DNF'd his car once and DSQ'd once. That's the same amount of times.
So what's interesting, though, is that we've only really seen like one extra driver this season, essentially.
I think next year it's going to be a strange year and there's not going to be any sub-ins.
I don't think so, because there's been about like 4 switches last season.
There were, yes.
If you want to count, there's one for sure. If you want to count 2, if you want to go with Lawson and Yuki essentially switching cars.
Because I think realistically the cars next season are going to be so hard to drive that they're not going to hire anybody new. The cars next season are going to be a handful. They have active aero now. They're going to have no low-end grip. It's going to be... apparently, Mercedes said their cars could hit 300 kilometers an hour at Monaco.
At Monaco?
Outside, during the tunnel. If they hit 300 in the tunnel, there's going to be so many crashes.
Well, yeah, it's Monaco. Monaco is such like a thin race. Like the sides are so thin. You're going down street like just streets essentially. They're not gonna, if you're going that fast, if you can't stop in time or slow down your car in time, you're likely gonna get in the crash. And the thing is too is that if the crash happens, it's like in the middle of the street.
Yes. I guarantee you. They also heard, Mercedes also said it could hit 400 kilometers an hour at Monza.
So if that's the case, how many crashes could we probably see? Like 5?
5 or 6, bro. Half the field is not making it to the end of that race.
And it's probably going to be a crash resulting from a crash from that as well.
From another crash.
Like... what are the odds that we see like a car like flip over another car going like 400 kilometers an hour?
Honestly, I think the 2026 regulations have not had enough time in the oven. They are going to go horrifically wrong. And in like 2029, they'll switch it up again.
Probably.
I don't think these regulations are going to be a success.
So looking at the rest of the season here, what do you think we can expect from the rest of the season? Because we got 2 races left in the U.S. We got Qatar. We have...
Brazil, too.
We have Brazil.
Mexico.
We have Dubai. I think Dubai.
Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi, sorry. We have Abu Dhabi, and then we have Singapore. What do you think we can expect from these last few races here?
Singapore, it's hot. McLaren's tire advantage will be clear. Unless they crash, it should be a McLaren dominant race. Vegas is colder. Ferrari and Mercedes will be better. I think Red Bull will still be pretty good there. Qatar, it's hot. That should be McLaren. Abu Dhabi, it's hot. It should be a McLaren. Brazil, random stuff happened in Brazil. No, what stays in Brazil what happens in Brazil stays in Brazil. No one knows what's going to happen in Brazil. And then Texas, Hamilton historically runs really well in Texas. And Ferrari for the past couple of seasons have not been that bad in Texas. So I could see Ferrari nipping it.
That's possible. But just go into Brazil there. Who do you think could probably win that one?
Hamilton runs well at Brazil. Verstappen runs well at Brazil. The McLarens, I don't think either driver has been particularly good in Brazil in their career. Russell won in Brazil in 2022.
And 21. No,
20
sorry, that was Hamilton on
21.
21.
Hamilton dominated that race in 21. So I could see a Russell, maybe an Antonelli. I wouldn't be surprised. Because what happened in 2022 is Hamilton had more pace, but Hamilton picked up damage. So at that point, he just stayed behind Russell. So
Yeah.
I could see that happening in reverse. Russell picking up damage and staying behind Antonelli.
That's possible.
I could see. Honestly, if it's raining, it's Verstappen.
But in Brazil as well, we did see Gasly and Ocon get second and third last year.
I think the next surprise podium is going to be either Behrman or Bortoleto.
I feel like Bortoleto makes sense. Behrman, though, he is in the Haas. There's not really much he can do in that.
Because in 2022, I believe, or 2023, I think it was 22, Magnussen started on pole. In a Haas. Kevin Magnussen started on pole.
In 22?
I believe it was 22 he started on pole.
I'm just going to go take a look back at that.
Because back then, sprint rates, it was different, so he started on pole for the sprint.
Sorry, who again?
Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah, you're correct.
I told you. So Haas, historically, they don't do too bad around there. Fun fact, his kid was born 9 months later.
Hmm.
And after Charles Leclerc's win in Monza in 2024, the birth rate for 9 months later was 450,000 higher than the year before.
That's interesting.
Don't ask why I know that.
Now, yeah, I don't want to actually ask why you know that. But I think, yeah, I agree, though. Brazil's probably going to be the next, I feel like Brazil is going to be the next surprise one for us.
Brazil's going to be the next surprise one, but I think the next chaotic one is Qatar. Unless Brazil comes first.
Possibly. I think this would be, I think looking at the next while, McLaren is probably going to win. At this rate, they're probably, even if, I don't see it possible for Verstappen in the next few, the last few races here to catch up.
I don't think he's ever won at Singapore. I think it's one of the only tracks he's never won at.
Verstappen?
Yeah, I don't think he's ever won at Singapore.
I'm just going to confirm that real quick.
Perez won in 22. Then 23 was Ferrari and Sainz. 24 was Norris.
Yeah, you're correct on that.
So maybe Verstappen will finally get that Singapore win.
Yeah, Perez did win in the Red Bull in 22, but I don't know. We will have to see how that one goes. Because I believe he finished in second last year.
Second, but he was a second by a long while. It was 30
20
seconds.
seconds.
Yeah.
But then the separation between him and Piastri after that from second to third was 20 seconds as well. Funny thing, the difference between... It started going lapped. They started lapping people who were in 8th place.
I'm going to say we're going to hear a lot, quote, your car is overheating, please back off in Singapore.
Likely, because Albon's car overheated last time.
Because it's already a hot race, so the ambient air is not that cold. Plus, with the exhaust air, I see the Mercedes overheating. The Mercedes engines this year have not been the most reliable, and I could see them overheating.
That's a strong possibility.
The Honda power unit, overall, is actually probably the best power unit of the season. It's had the least amount of reliability issues, and it's pretty good.
Who's using the Honda again this season?
It's Red Bull.
Just in general, just both Red Bulls. Yeah, to be fair, yeah, especially this race too. You had all of them getting in the top 10.
I could see I would say the Honda power unit is currently the best on the grid.
Honestly, I can't argue with you in that one though. Because it's probably been, any issues that have really come out of it, it's just mostly been on the car, not the engine.
Yeah. It's been like an electrical issue.
Exactly.
Fun fact, in Abu Dhabi 2018, they booted Max Verstappen's car in safe mode. Why does the car have a safe mode? I don't know. How do you turn on a car in safe mode? I don't know. But he dropped to like P15, and then they rebooted the car. Repeat again, I don't know how you reboot the car without pulling it into the pits. And he finished third.
In third.
Yep. Because when you boot something into safe mode, you have to go out of your way to boot it into safe mode.
Yeah.
You have to put in like a special button combination. So there's no way that was done by accident.
No.
I don't know why I remember that. Hulkenberg was hanging over like a cow. His car flipped, and he said, "I'm hanging here like a cow." Fun fact.
Actually, looking at Hulkenberg, though, what do you expect we can see from him for the rest of the season?
I expect 4 more points finishes, 3 more Q3 appearances, and 3 11th places. That's very particular.
That is very specific.
That's too specific.
I was thinking, like, yeah, I think he'll finish in, like, similar area he currently has been. And you're just like, no, he's going to get 11th place, 3 times. He's going to get Q3 3 times. And he's going to get whatever the first thing you said was.
Because at the crazy races, when a lot happens, nothing happens to Hulkenberg.
Yeah.
Because he's so far behind everybody. Everyone else crashes, and then he passes them.
I think it's just kind of funny that as soon as he got podium, he hasn't gotten points since.
Well, he is driving a Sauber. We have to remember that.
Yeah. But he's ahead of Carlos Sainz, Fernando Alonso. He's been doing well in that car.
I mean, being ahead of Fernando and Carlos is the big surprise there.
Yeah, well, though, I'll be honest with you, Fernando is not being great this season, and his car isn't being too good.
He actually said if 2026 we don't have a good car, 2026 might be my last year.
Well, how old is he now? Like
42.
Yeah, 44.
Oh, God. He's an unk.
No, he should be retiring.
Honestly, I get it. He's still very good. Retire, make way for a younger guy, man.
Well, that's the thing, though. If you are Aston Martin, what do you do? Like, who do you replace him with?
You could go try get Verstappen. We'll see what his mood is like in a couple seasons. Leclerc is obviously at this point probably unhappy with Ferrari. If I'm Leclerc, I give Ferrari 1 more season and then I'm out.
He's been way too loyal to Ferrari for so long.
I would have pulled the plug on Ferrari after 2022, honestly. I would have opted out of my contract and gone anywhere.
Yeah. The thing is, too, is that if it depends where he goes to, because it's either, if he doesn't go to a top 4 team, he's probably not going to do too great.
That's why I say he'll give 2026 to see what the lay of the land is, and then make known if he's available or not.
Yeah, he'll go to Cadillac.
Bro, it'll be such jokes if Cadillac be good next season.
I want them to be. I think they'll do decent next year.
Because you don't know the story of Braun GP, right?
I do not know.
Basically, Honda went bankrupt, and their CEO, named Braun, bought it out, okay?
Yeah.
So it was a completely new team. They had no sponsors. They only had 3 chassis for the whole season. Only 3. They won both championships.
That's crazy.
They won both championships, and then they were bought out at the end of the season by Mercedes.
Okay, that's funny.
So it would be such jokes if Cadillac could do that.
I think likely what we'll see is Cadillac will not be like the top 4 teams, but I think they'll be in that middle range. I think they'll be like Aston Martin.
If Cadillac finishes in front of Ferrari, I'm no longer a Ferrari fan.
You'll be a Cadillac fan.
I'm actually pulling the plug.
Then
I can't do it.
Then who would you be a fan of?
Bro, at this point, Mercedes, man.
What Cadillac?
I can't. If Cadillac's using the Ferrari engine, bro, they can't beat us. They can't.
No, that's the question, though. Even though it's probably not going to happen. What are the odds that does?
I'm done. I'm selling. That Ferrari jacket that was a pain to buy, I might sell it.
So what's your asking price? I'll take it.
I'm not selling it to you.
Oh, come on.
I got to sell it to a brainwashed child. Actually, when I was at Disneyland, there was a kid with a signed Ferrari hat. I've never wanted to hit a kid more.
Okay, that's enough of you for today. We're going to wrap up the show here. Thank you all for listening. I have Mustafa there unmuted, so we'll ensure that nothing else comes out of his mouth there. But I hope you all had a wonderful hour of listening to us yap about random stuff from this Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and we'll see you all next week where we'll be talking about the 2021 Formula One Championship. Have a good night, everyone.